distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you to Kenya Side event this afternoon. I want to acknowledge the panelists seated here. I also want to acknowledge all the participants who have joined us this afternoon to Kenya Side event, which we are hosting with other countries and also development partners and organizations who are working in the area of social protection. The theme for our side event is empowering lives, transforming societies, social policies for a sustainable future. So we are going to have about 10 presenters who will be giving about 5-minute presentations. Some will be joining us virtually. Others have pre-recorded statements. And now in front of here at the platform, we have other panelists who are here with us. So I just want to share the order of presentations. We are going to start with the government statements. Then we'll go to the non-state actors. And we shall also now go to the development partners who are supporting social protection programs. And also we are going to finish with a testimonial for one of our beneficiaries who has benefited from one of the social protection programs that Kenya is having. After the presentations, we are going to have an interactive session where we shall invite all the participants present and those joined online to give us their reactions. And we shall also be asking them to keep their statements for 2 minutes. So the online panelists will also be there to respond to any questions that will be coming from the floor. And we acknowledge those who are online to use the chat so that we can have our rapporteurs speak the questions as they come. Lastly, given the given time, we are going to have a very limited time. We may not be able to address all the issues or comments, concerns that will be coming from the floor. There is a registration form that we are prepared that will be going through. We shall require you put your emails and any contacts so that we can reach out. The Kenyan team will be reaching out. However, we'll endeavor to do our best in terms of responding to the questions. So without much ado, we want to have our principal secretary from Kenya welcome us formally to this side event so we can have his pre-recorded statement. Welcome, sir, to make your presentation.
Distinguished delegates, panels, and invited guests, greetings from Kenya. I am Joseph Mota, State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs. It gives me great pleasure to join you virtually as we gather here this afternoon for this important occasion on Kenya's side event, which is taking place during the 62nd session of the Commission for Social Development. The theme for our side event is empowering lives, transforming societies, social policies for a sustainable future, which is informed by this year's overall theme and the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which aspires to ensure the prosperity and well-being of all people while safeguarding the planet. Through the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the global community emphasizes the importance of inclusive and equitable policies that address the well-being of societies on a global scale. Africa has made a significant strides towards social development. The African Social Policy Framework provides a regional blueprint for formulating policies that uplift families, communities, and foster social resilience. Kenya has invested heavily in system strengthening and has developed a consolidated cash transfer management information system and an enhanced single registry that is a repository for data of poor and vulnerable households. It is worth noting that the Kenya Cash Transfer Program for over 1.2 million beneficiaries and households is fully supported through domestic revenue. Distinguished delegates, this side event, which Kenya is co-hosting with other African countries, provides a platform for participants from across the globe to share insights, experiences, and best practices on the realm of social policies for building sustainable and inclusive societies. Kenya will particularly showcase the remarkable progress it has made towards development and implementation of social protection programs and interventions. The national policy on social protection has 4 pillars, namely income security, social health protection, shock responsive social protection, and fourthly, complementary programs, which provides the overall framework for coordination and implementation. Distinguished delegates, as I conclude, note the main objectives of this side event is to share insights, experiences, and best practices related to social protection programs and initiatives, contributing to the overall goal of reducing vulnerability and promoting inclusive development. To deliver on these objectives, we have put together a team of presenters and panelists drawn from national governments, development partners, NGOs, and civil society organizations who have a lot of experience in implementing social protection programs at national, regional, and international levels. My special appreciation goes to my counterparts from Ghana, Zambia, Uganda, and Malawi for accepting Kenya's invitation to co-host this event together. Development partners World Bank, UNICEF, World Food Program, and the other organizations, Village Enterprise Kenya, Bomba Project, and Investing in Children and their societies, who will be panelists today. Distinguished delegates, lastly, as I conclude, allow me to extend a warm welcome to all participants present, both physically and those online, and thank you for being here to support us. We look forward to fruitful deliberations and contributions as we aim to learn and leverage on each other's knowledge, experience, and good practices that will inform and enrich the global social protection agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. We want to appreciate the warm welcome from the Principal Secretary to all of us. And having done that, I want to invite the first presenter for today, Madam Jane Moyanga, the Head of National Social Protection Secretariat in Kenya, to make our presentation highlighting the social protection agenda in Kenya. Welcome, Madam Jane.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of the team that was preparing this side event, I would just want to take us through briefly on what the social landscape looks like. We want to look at social protection in form of a storm, and at the middle of that storm, there is the issue of poverty and vulnerability. And from that storm, we want to see how does it play and pan itself out in terms of affecting our populations. And we have the teenage pregnancies, we have issues of the elderly, and all these kind of, at the end of the day, affect our general development as countries. And social protection is aimed at assisting countries in ensuring some of these issues of vulnerabilities are taken care of. Next slide, please. Now, the next question we need to be asking ourselves is, how would the world look like if we did not have social protection? How would that mean for all of us? The first thing that we would want to look at if we do not have social protection, the paramount question that we need to be asking ourselves here is, there will be high levels of inequality, low human capital development, high poverty rates, and high levels of exclusion, including weak social cohesion. And we have the new kid in the block, the advanced issues of climate change. And we want to see how does climate change affect our vulnerable groups and the risks that come along with it. In terms of social protection, we want to look at how does it address the SDGs. And when we look at social protection, it tackles issues of poverty and inequality. That is goal 1 and 10, strengthens issues of food security. Goal number 2, improves health and cognitive development. Goal number 3 and 9, strengthens our education outcomes. Goal number 4, promotes gender equality. Goal number 5, enables better household level environmental management, water, sanitation, and climate action. Goal number 6 and 13, strengthens our social cohesion and inclusion. Goal 11 and 16, fosters inclusive growth, decent work, and more productive employment. And that takes us to goal number 8, improves microeconomic resilience. Goal number 12, and strengthens opportunities for partnership. And goal number 17, and those partnerships are what we really appreciate with all of us who are seated here today. Then we ask ourselves, when we look at social policy impact, where does that impact start? And we're saying that social policy starts from household level, because that is where the impacts of vulnerability and poverty are felt. And if there's impact or negative impact at household level, then that spills out to the community level. And in the long run, it goes to the national level. And that is where issues of our development gets affected, because from the household level, we have not been able to manage issues of vulnerability. Broadly, when we look at social protection, what are the issues that we look at in terms of delivery? And we are saying that social protection can deliver for us social security for households. It can enhance equality. It can improve childhood development. And this is going to be a critical agenda and discussion that we need to have. It will improve dignity of all, particularly the elderly and disabled. It will also create economic stimulus and more opportunities for businesses. So we need to be able to look at social protection as something, or social policy as something that cuts across, that needs to find its seat on the table of discussion on all issues that concern the development. Then we want to look at in terms of what is it that we want to see. And we want to see social protection promoting positive health outcomes, promoting better nutrition and food security. We want to see social policy addressing issues of reducing gender inequality. We want to see social policy and social protection promoting women empowerment. And we want to see issues of inclusive growth being put on the table on this. Secondly, we also want to ask ourselves, like for Kenya, what is it that we want to see, or what is the way forward for us as a country? We have a whole component of system strengthening that, like the PS has said, in terms of our delivery systems for payment of our cash transfers, we have an enhanced single registry that deals with issues of being a repository for all poor and vulnerable households. We have a program on increasing access to socioeconomic inclusion interventions, and this we are looking at the bottom, the persons at the households at the bottom of the pyramid. We are looking at issues of improving our shock responsiveness, and this is where all of us seated here need to be asking ourselves, where does the issue of green social protection sit in, and what is it as practitioners that can we plan to ensure that social protection and is shock responsive addresses issues of climate change. And lastly, we also have the issue of the legislative framework. For Kenya, we have a social protection policy that was enacted this year, and we are also in the process of legislating, coming up with a law that tackles or that is going to regulate and address all the issues of social protection in the country. With those, that I want to say thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chen, for really giving us the landscape for social protection in Kenya and how social protection will contribute to the achievement of the SDGs. Having said that, we wanted to invite Millicent Awiti, General Manager, Strategy, Research and Risk, National Social Security Fund, to share one of the fund's innovations, the Abahaba initiative to enhance social security for the informal sector in Kenya. Welcome, Madam Millicent.
Thank you very much, Jane and Mudhoni. NSSF Kenya is implementing a product known as Haba Haba. Haba Haba means little by little. This product is for the informal sector. Kenya's landscape has 82% of its workforce is from the informal sector, and hence, based on the enacted legislation, which is the NSSF Act number 45 of 2013, it provides a basis for NSSF to enhance coverage to this sector. And this product was introduced in the year 2019, in November. We have so far registered approximately 800,000 members. This product allows for short-term maturity. Members need to consistently contribute for a period of 5 years, then they can withdraw 50% of their contributions. Members are able to register using their mobile phone through a USSD code. Members can be able to make contributions, they can be able to validate their member details, and they can also be able to check their statements using the USSD code and their mobile phone. Other things is that this product is powered by technology, and we have worked with various partners, including the mobile network operators and strategic partnerships with the informal sector groups or associations in the different sectors of the informal sector. Some of the lessons we have learned during the implementation of this product has been the importance of strategic partners. We have realized that for the informal sector, you need to work with strategic partners, leveraging on their strengths to be able to bring in the numbers. We looked at this in two ways, to enhance access as well as reach. In terms of reach, the informal sector are formed in terms of groups and associations. So a lot of times we have realized that it's easier to bring them on board using their group associations. And then in terms of the partners in the private sector, especially financial institutions like banks, this is key because this helps in terms of auto debit or direct debits from their bank accounts directly to NSSF. This also enhances the compliance level. Another lesson that we have learned during this implementation is the importance of strengthening institutional capacity and frameworks. This is important in terms of research, in terms of monitoring and evaluation to be able to support, and even the governance structures within the institution. The third one is the importance when you're implementing a product such as this, because then technology enhances access and also supports towards ensuring compliance levels. Lastly, the importance of looking at your processes and your systems. Your processes and your systems, ensuring that you have a delivery chain model or framework that supports the implementation of this framework. So in a nutshell, those are some of the lessons that we have learned. Going forward, using this product, we also intend to enhance financial inclusion through the diaspora, Kenyans in the diaspora, And this we intend to do by introducing incentives and nudges as well. We also intend working with development partners to enhance coverage through the Haba Haba initiative to refugees as well as migrant workers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Millicent, for that elaborate presentation on the products that Kenya is doing to enhance social security for informal workers. Kenya having set the pace, now we want to move to the other panelists from the region, and we want to invite Honorable Angela Chomba, Permanent Secretary for Community Development and Social Services of Zambia, to share experiences from our country on the area of social protection. Welcome, Madam. We have your attention.
Thank you very much for the invitation. And for learning, I mean, we're learning from you. It's very important that we share ideas and exchange on what everyone is working with. I think while we have a lot of similarities, particularly with social protection, we also have quite a number of differences. We are running social protection where we're doing social cash transfers to the vulnerable in our Zambian society. These are people who actually need support. And we are looking at this as our investment in human capital development, because the idea is once we are able to support them with regular cash transfers, they should be able to then move on and move up, either through getting jobs or through linkages to the markets. And then once they are in that position, then they can, of course, graduate into contributory social protection, where they then will be able to contribute and then be part of some pension scheme. The other thing that comes through, of course, is that we are in the unfortunate situation where we've got very high levels of rural poverty, and then these are the people who are affected mostly by things like climate change. People who are in the cities are more resilient, but you find that in the rural areas, we have populations that are depending on the rain to be able to produce food so that they are food secure. They are depending on being able to gather firewood to either then make charcoal, so that is their source of energy. So we actually have a lot of work to do in this area. One of the things, of course, is to be proactive, that we are actually out there educating people on how they can be still food secure despite adverse climate changes. And then there's a lot of advocacy. We have to be talking to people. We have to be educating people. And one of our greatest achievements at the moment is we have free education from early childhood all the way up to secondary school. And we think that this is one of the ways that we are able to get the children to be change makers in their communities, in their homes. As we have rightly noted from Kenya, that changes just as well as the impact of poverty is always felt most at the household level. We have a lot of work to do because we have a situation where we actually have up to 60% of our population being graded as poor or vulnerable. And this is a very large part of our population, which we need to empower and get working, because there will be no economic transformation if we have such a large part of our population sitting outside the economy as participants. Okay. So then, of course, we do have to bring one of the programs that we do run actually is the Food Security Pack, where we do encourage our beneficiaries, who are the households that are vulnerable, we support them with agriculture inputs so that they are able to produce enough food for themselves. And then what we do with that also is to ensure that as a community, after they have produced enough food for themselves, they are then able to buy assets as a community which will help them in their agricultural work. And so what we normally have is that these people will, communities, these groups will invest in livestock, they'll invest in planters, they will invest in equipment simple farming equipment to help them increase their harvest, and this is one of the ways that they're able to move from poverty. And then we also have an aspect on which we are actually able to work with the communities. That's part of the social cash transfer. This is, of course, with support from cooperating partners, is used for them to be enrolled on our health insurance scheme so that they will have access to medical assistance. And this, we believe, is also one way of improving outcomes and livelihoods in the communities. With this contribution from Zambia, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The experience from Zambia. Now we want to invite Ghana also to share with us, and we want to welcome the Acting Director for Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Ms. Florence Ayisi, to share with us Ghana's experiences, and in strictly 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and we are grateful for the opportunity to share our experience on social protection policies. And I must say that the team from Ghana just recently returned from Kenya, sharing our experiences with them. So it's a great opportunity again for us to be here to share with our partners on what we're doing as a country to foster social development and justice through social protection policies, so that we'll be able to accelerate progress towards the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and also to achieve the overarching goal of poverty reduction. And that is because we as a country know that we have some level of poverty in our country. Currently, we have estimated 2.4 million people who are in poverty in our country, and therefore these are the targets of most of our social protection interventions to ensure that they are at par, because social protection is being defined as an integral part of development in our country, and all our efforts are geared towards members of this group being able to participate fully and to ensure that they are relevant for national development. Ghana, therefore, is working so much to ensure that our citizens live a dignified life. And because of this, 2023, we introduced our national social protection policy that seeks to give social protection as a right to citizens, not as a program, but as a right that people can even go as far as demand for this right to be met, and to ensure that programs that are for social protection are coordinated, and they're also talking to each other to ensure effective linkages for our beneficiaries in this regard. We, as a Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection, have 2 main flagship interventions that we are implementing on behalf of government. That is the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty Program, and then the Ghana School Feeding Program. The Livelihood Empowerment Against Program is, as the name implies, a livelihood support to persons who are in the extreme poor category. And currently, we are covering more than 1.5 million households, and in more than 355,000 households, targeting 1.5 million people. It's a bi-monthly payment that we make to qualified persons that are selected from the National Household Registry, and this ensures that they are able to have support to their daily consumption, as well as other health issues and support for their children to ensure that they do not fall back to poverty. We are working also to ensure that more than 4 million children are fed daily under the Ghana School Feeding Program. And all this linked to various government interventions to ensure that the vulnerable and the poor are protected and able to participate fully in social protection. We know that there are linkages that we need to ensure, and therefore for 2024, our focus will be on shock response and how families will be well protected in the cases of emergency to ensure that they are able to be resilient in these times and that children and young girls that are mostly affected are protected. We are working towards a more cohesion in our social protection intervention to ensure they are targeted well, and therefore also focus is being made as a country for us to complete our household registry in all the regions of the country to ensure that everybody who qualify have access to social protection interventions, and that citizens have the right to call and receive remediation and even challenge results if they are not satisfied. That's just a few of the things we are doing, and we are hoping that we'll have more chance from questions from the floor to give you more details. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation from Ghana. We really appreciate. Now, as you know, governments work with partners and other non-state actors to deliver on social protection programs. At this juncture, we shall have 3 presentations from non-state actors, and I request them to speak strictly for 3 minutes. You are aware we started a bit late. And our first to speak will be Tadeo Muriuki, the Chief Government Relationship Officer, Philange Enterprise Kenya, and will speak mainly on the importance of partnerships between the state and non-state actors in the implementation of the social protection agenda. Welcome, Mr. Muriuki. We have your attention.
Very much, Madam Moderator, and the whole audience. So I'm pleased to be here and to be invited as one of the panelists, and I work for Village Enterprise, an organization that is committed to ending extreme poverty within our lifetime. We focus on lifting families out of extreme poverty, enhancing their well-being and resilience, and securing a brighter future for generations. By partnering with governments, nonprofits, UN agencies, and others, we empower first-time entrepreneurs with the skills and resources to launch businesses and savings groups. Our collaboration with the Kenyan government and the Global Development Incubator and the BOMA project through the Kenya Socio-Economic Inclusion Project exemplifies our belief in the power of partnerships to tackle poverty effectively. So for this project, we specifically worked with the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs. In this economic inclusion project under KSEP, our collective efforts have significantly improved the lives of more than 34,000 households, 34,000 individuals across our 5 counties. We have supported in the development and dissemination of crucial tools, systems, and training materials, working closely with the Kenyan government to be able to expand these initiatives. A key to our strategy has been enhancing government staff capacity, ensuring the sustainability and reach of this innovative program. As you may agree with me, tackling poverty is a complex challenge that requires collective action. Our work showcases the effectiveness of collaboration between government, NGOs, and other non-state actors. This synergy enables us to create impactful, contextually relevant solutions, extend our reach to marginalized communities, and introduce innovative and adaptive strategies. So what have been the strategies we've deployed for this successful partnership? Allow me to enumerate just a few. 1, effective communication and decision-making. Clear collaboration channels keep all partners aligned and focused. 2, leveraging each partner's strengths. Maximizing the unique contributions of each partner enhances our collective impact. 3, knowledge sharing and capacity building. A continuous exchange of knowledge and experiences has bolstered our collective capabilities to be able to see this project be successful. And finally, innovative financing. We continue to explore new funding models such as public-private partnerships, results-based financing, to see how we can continue the sustainability of these innovative initiatives. So motivated by this success, Village Enterprise as an organization is dedicated to deepening our partnership with the Kenyan government and other African governments. We aim to reach more households, scaling our impact and weaving economic inclusion more deeply into Kenya's development strategies. Thank you for allowing me to share this journey. Village Enterprise collaboration with the Kenyan government and our consortium partners stands as a beacon of what can be achieved when we unite for a common cause. We are excited to continue this work, contributing to a more inclusive and prosperous Kenya and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Muriuki, for that elaborate presentation on how partnerships have really contributed to successful policies and also in the implementation of social protection programs. Now we want to invite Anna Megan, Chief Project Officer, BOMA Project, also to share our experiences. We have Anna on the platform, so welcome. You have our attention.
Thank you so much. Delighted to be here. BOMA is a non-governmental organization that was born in the drylands of Kenya and has been working to eradicate poverty for the last 20 years. BOMA first piloted its now well-known graduation out of poverty model, the Rural Entrepreneurship Access Project, in 2008, with 40 micro-enterprises led by rural women near the remote village of Kor in northern Kenya. And since then, BOMA has enrolled over 130,000 ultra-poor participants and reached nearly 800,000 household members across the drylands of Africa, even beyond Kenya. And by 2027, we aim to reach 3 million people by aggressively adapting and scaling our approaches to enhance resilience and social and economic inclusion of the most poor and vulnerable people in the African drylands. One of our most important partnerships to date has been our fruitful partnership with the government of Kenya. And we have been a key partner, as Tadeo mentioned, for the Department of Social Development under their CSocD project. And BOMA's role has been to support the project's 3 pillars, especially the Economic Inclusion Program, or what we call EIP. And BOMA enrolled 3,750 participants in 4 counties and also contributed to the other pillars of the project that Tadeo mentioned, developing tools and systems and building the capacity of government staff through a learning by doing approach. And truly, it's been an honor to be part of this effort, especially to work with the committed team from the government of Kenya. CSocD has been rich with learning for BOMA, and I'd like to just highlight 3 quick important takeaways. The first is alignment with the government's vision. And the Kenyan government's vision is to move beyond cash transfers to an integrated social protection system. BOMA is aligned with this agenda, and when we've found ourselves with unanticipated challenges in this project, that singular vision has been tremendously helpful. The second has been to learn to be adaptable and flexible as long as the core pillars of an evidenced approach remain. At the outset, CSocD borrowed from evidence graduation programs like BOMA's from within and outside of Kenya and was designed to test different options. As I mentioned, BOMA has been working on our model for 15 years, and like some NGOs, we think our model is the best. But at times, we have to be flexible. The bigger goal of scaling to hundreds of thousands of ultra-poor Kenyans is much more important than this model or that model, or whether this NGO does it this way or the other way. And the core components of what we know works: a sequenced, time-bound intervention, and 5 key components: consumption support, skill training, asset transfer, savings, and mentoring. And finally, we honestly believe that our shared successes should be the driving force of our partnership. We've achieved so much under KSEP to enhance the access of extremely poor households to social and economic inclusion services. At baseline, for BOMA, 85% of households surveyed had at least 60% increase in monthly per capita consumption and expenditure, and 82% of households surveyed had multiple income sources. So these shared successes should be celebrated, and we should draw from them to inspire our future work together and pursue our shared goals to reach many more thousands of ultra-poor Kenyans with what we know works. BOMA is an organization that truly values partnership with government, and we want to continue to deepen our partnership through those three core learnings: vision alignment, core pillars, and shared successes. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne, for sharing with us the vision of moving beyond cash transfers through the grantration approach. So thank you very much. Now we want to invite Beatrice Ongutu, Executive Director, Africa, Investing in Children and Their Societies. She's going to share with us evidence-based family strengthening interventions. And I think she's speaking virtually to us. Welcome, Madam Beatrice.
Thank you, Team Kenya, for organizing this side event, and thank you for inviting us to share best practice that promotes social development in Kenya. Investing in Children and Their Society works together with government to create safe and nurturing environments for children. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, all of us come from a family. The experiences, whether they've been good or bad, have shaped who we are today, has influenced our perspectives about life, has impacted how we are planning and doing life, and will have a great influence on how we raise and parent our own children. Indeed, it is within the family that formation of citizenship starts to take place. Within the family, ladies and gentlemen, parents are the primary influences in the life of a child. And if we are thinking about transformed societies and sustainable futures, the first and right place to invest is in building on the existing strengths of parents and having a set of programs and services that improve how parents approach and execute their roles, even in the face of challenges and adversities that we are going through today. Ladies and gentlemen, if we are truly honest, not all parents and caregivers need support, but a significant number do, especially because all of us face challenges from time to time as we raise our children. I know, I do. The need for parent support programs is further justified by a number of alarming statistics globally that show how families are vulnerable and therefore how our social fabric is being impacted. For example, globally, around 1 billion children and adolescents face different kinds of violence on a regular basis, often in the hands of parents. The effects are intergenerational, and the economic costs of responding to these forms of violence remain huge. Evidence-based positive parenting programs can prevent and buffer the effects of these forms of violence and other negative influences that come with it, of which then affect social development. Ladies and gentlemen, when parents miss out on this support, the right services based on their needs, millions of children continue to miss out and may not reach their full developmental potential. The consequences remain huge, not only for the children themselves, but for society. That is why what is happening in families today cannot be handled as a private matter. We applaud all the efforts that are happening in the country, but we know a universal approach to parenting support is recommended globally, where parents and caregivers together with their children benefit from parenting support, but with varying levels of intensity, because family needs fluctuate and evolve over time. Tried and tested solutions exist, and these programs have been implemented in Kenya and other parts of East Africa with success. These programs remain scalable and are a cost-effective way to support parents and caregivers and prevent abuse, neglect, and adversity in childhood. They continue to contribute to good mental health and well-being for caregivers and children and reduce risk-taking behaviors throughout the life course. These programs, ladies and gentlemen, have a ripple effect and accelerate the achievement of social cohesion and social development. The return on investment for government we have seen is huge. Government budgets and societal well-being, including other development outcomes across the life course, is substantial. Research indicates that every dollar spent on parenting and early childhood care development programs delivers 13% per annum return on investment through better education, economic, health, and social outcomes. Clearly, the financial benefits of implementing evidence-based parenting support programs outweigh the costs. Evidence-based parenting programs are thus a smart investments. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, governments have a crucial role in supporting parents and families and creating an ecosystem of policies and services that empower parents and their children at scale. I applaud my government, the government of Kenya, for working together with partners and launching a national positive parenting program last year on the Day of the International Family. We thank government for making this bold step to have a flagship program. But to implement this program at scale and success and sustain it, the government will benefit from the complementary support and the role of all actors, including the UN agencies, donors, religious bodies, CSOs, and indeed you and I in our various capacities. It was a great honor to share these insights and experiences at this Kenya side event taking place at the 62nd session of the United Nations Commission on Social Development. I call everyone to join efforts with the government of Kenya and rally behind investments and services that support families. Strong families create social stability, strong societies leading to sustainable futures. Thank you. I'm Beatrice Ogutu, Executive Director, Investing in Children and Their Societies. Thank you, and back to the moderator.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. We really appreciate the fact that strong families will lead to stronger societies. Thank you very much. Having said that, now we want to turn to the development partners, and they talk about digital transformation cuts across all sectors. I want to invite David Kamau, a social protection specialist at the World Food Programme Kenya, to share insights on leveraging technology to enhance the effectiveness, reach, and sustainability of social protection initiatives. Welcome, Mr. David Kamau. You have our attention.
I'm David Kamau, a social protection policy officer based and working in Kenya with the World Food Programme. I'm here to talk briefly about the role of technology in enhancing the effectiveness and the reach of social protection programs. I'll touch on 6 brief points on how technology enhances effectiveness and the reach of social protection programs. 1, at policy level, technology can help and aid in the strategic information of appropriate policies. How does this work? It allows policymakers to comprehensively analyze data, identify trends and insights, and also support predictive analytics to inform formulation of evidence-based policies. Secondly, in establishing a dynamic social registry, technology helps in capturing details of the most poor and vulnerable populations, within which those populations would benefit during program expansions and wherever institutions, including governments, need to respond to shocks. Similarly, technologies within the broader aspect of dynamic social registries helps to seamlessly integrate with government administrative databases, such as population registries, civil registration registries, social security registries, among others, in verifying the beneficiaries or populations and also the benefit details. It can also be utilized in enhancing targeting and its quality with inbuilt data quality and validation controls. It facilitates timely delivery of services and benefits, saving lives and livelihoods, especially during emergencies, while reducing transactional or logistical costs. Third, broad areas within which technology can effectively enhance the reach of social protection is related to the facilitation of program linkages to payment service systems or delivery systems through the integration of multiple financial service providers such as banks, telecoms, to enable disbursements and distribution of social assistance benefits. It can also help in integration and optimization of payment channels, ensuring that timely and secure transfers of funds reach the targeted beneficiaries. Another role of technology is that it enables the digital identity for inclusivity. How does this work? It affords the unique digital identity, fostering inclusivity and ensuring that no one is left behind. Actually, it helps in empowering the most marginalized communities to access services, including social assistance benefits. On a more important front, technology within the broad scope of social protection plays a key role in enhancing data privacy and security, because technology-enabled social protection systems provide mechanisms for safeguarding sensitive personal identifying information of the poor or the people who benefit from social protection services, or those who would benefit, but they are contained in such systems. And the final broad scope of technology within this subject is related to the implementation of citizen-centric grievance and complaints mechanisms, or within which they will be redressed, where technology helps to establish robust systems for capturing grievances, complaints, updates for social protection programs and beneficiaries, as well as enabling citizens to voice their concerns and ensure that the program officers, those who are responsible and tasked with various responsibilities, are able to act on issues that emanate or emerge from the community on a timely basis. It's for this reason that institutions like the World Food Programme have been partnering with the government of Kenya, alongside many other players, to deliver or to develop effective and appropriate delivery systems which are helping in enhancing effectiveness and the reach of social protection programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David, for really sharing with us how technology has led to the effective delivery of the social protection programs and ensuring that we have effective policies that will ensure societies are well taken care of moving forward. Thank you very much. And our last presentation, we want to have a pre-recorded combined presentation from UNICEF and the State Department for Social Protection, and the Madam Yoko Kobayashi, who is a child protection specialist from UNICEF. They are going to share with us about the National Positive Parenting Program, which Kenya is implementing with support from UNICEF. And they will also conclude with a testimonial from a family that has benefited from the program. So we want to listen to the pre-recorded presentation so that we can learn more about this positive parenting program. Let's listen.
With delegates and representatives from organizations participating both in person in New York and online. My name is Joseph Motari. I'm the Principal Secretary, State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs, Kenya. It is my pleasure to co-present the development and implementation of Kenya's National Positive Parenting Program with Ms. Yoko Kobayashi, Child Protection Specialist, UNICEF, Kenya Country Office. Parenting, as we know, is a process of raising a child. Positive parenting is nurturing, empowering, nonviolent, and provides recognition and guidance, including the setting of boundaries to enable the full development of the child. It is not just raising a child, but it is based on the best interest of the child. Kenya's National Positive Parenting Program seeks to improve how parents approach and execute their role as parents, specifically their parenting knowledge, attitude, skills, behavior, and practices. Kenya is one of the few countries that carried out a repeat survey nationally on violence against children, compared to our first violence against children survey back in the year 2010. The 2019 survey showed the important reduction in childhood violence for both female and male. The 2019 survey, however, highlighted that despite the progress, the prevalence of childhood violence, physical violence, was the most common form of childhood violence, affecting nearly 2 out of 5 females and half of males, commonly perpetrated by parents and caregivers. Witnessing physical violence in the home was equally common, with more than half of females and males observed violence in the home. Based on the 2019 Violence Against Children survey, the government of Kenya developed the 5-year National Prevention and Response Plan with 6 strategies which include family support and parenting. So why invest in parents and caregivers and support parents and caregivers to gain positive parenting, knowledge and skills? Parents and caregivers are indeed the important people and resources in the lives of children, especially from early to middle childhood. They influence a child's value, learning and socialization, and impact the child's health and development. Parents and caregivers can also serve as a buffer against adversity and protection for generations to come. The core principles and approaches of Kenya's national positive parenting are: 1, parenting through stages of child development. Secondly, family-centered, strength-based, and promotion of resilience. Thirdly, inclusivity. Fourthly, promote the child's best interests at all times. And fifthly, Ubuntu. I am because we are. Partnerships and collaborations. Gender transformative approach. Meaningful male engagement.
Thank you, PS Motari. Based on the core principles and approaches, 15 modules of Kenya's Positive Parenting Manual were developed with 13 technical contents. It's a holistic package ranging from family relationships, positive communication, self-care, play and early learning, health, nutrition, family financial planning, along with modules aimed at addressing violence affecting children, mothers, and all family members. These modules collectively support promoting child development, child protection, well-being of parents and caregivers, gender equality, and family strengthening. While the National Positive Parenting Program has been piloted and implemented using multi-sectoral platforms, we wish to highlight the nutrition counseling through cash and health education niche cash top-up program, which innovatively included the Positive Parenting Initiative. NISH provides cash top-up for the household with pregnant women and those with young children under the age of 3, among households which are already beneficiaries of the government's cash transfer program. This program is currently being implemented in 5 counties of Kenya by the government with the financial support of the World Bank, the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, and UNICEF technical assistance. Positive parenting has complemented the cash top-up and nutrition counseling in Kilifi County in the Coast region. The unique approach it took to implement positive parenting was the use of 2 platforms, community health and child protection and social development platforms. Based on the National Positive Parenting Training Manual, community health promoters were trained and included key messages into their day-to-day home visits and community health-related meetings, such as mother-to-mother support group. In parallel, child protection and social development volunteers were trained to facilitate the 15-module positive parenting group sessions. As a result, 1,950 parents and caregivers graduated in Kilifi County, and the program has been overwhelmingly popular and appreciated by parents and caregivers with a strong community endorsements. Let's now hear the testimony from the ground.
Hapa nyumbani tuko mimi na bwanangu na watoto wangu mimi ni watano. Na daktari wa nyanjani ambaye ni Janet Bahati. Ukalana nisemberera mara kwa mara.
Tumia household 68 na zinaendelea mzuri. Pia nahakikisha naangalia kama pengine kuna kesi yoyote pale, kwa sababu wengine watoto wengine huwa wanadhulumika, wanakuwa neglected. Katika hii household ya Agnes huwa nakuja mara moja kwa mwezi. In case kama kuna matatizo yoyote ama kuna emergency issues huwa ananipigia. Sasa masuala yangu mimi ama opportunity yangu ni kwenda pale na kuangalia watoto wanaweza kupata zile haki na zinatekelezwa kwa wakati mzuri unaofaa.
Mlumangu nikukalana lola no mambo da ahoho kwa mfano zafuria huku kwa rihira school fees, kugula chakuria na hata kwa gudura nguo na hata urinzi pia wa mhoho yumtita ambaye anahambala zafio kala ripana na sasiga na anahakikisha kala na anahambala kaisa mazingira mazi.
Kutakapokuwa na ule uhusiano mwema wa baina ya baba na mama, utakuwa na rahisi wa shida inapoingilia kati wa kujulikana. Kitu kingine ni kwamba hupenda sana hao madaktari wa nyanjani kwa sababu huwa wanatuelimisha kwa ile mafundisho ambayo wanatupea.
Jana kazi ile grupu nikuala na furahikia sana jinsi vile ambavyo unapata garo mafundisho. Nikitaka naanza ngufirio kugazia mazo na skromo wangu kidogo uhurire na takala ni yakli yangu na screen henda kasi tototo vyahu.
To conclude, I wish to reaffirm the government of Kenya's commitment to the program. The Ministry of Labor and Social Protection will continue to expand niche with the positive parenting together with the Ministry of Health and the county government. We will also spearhead the use of multi-sectoral platforms and existing programs for further scaling out of the National Positive Parenting Program. On behalf of the Government of Kenya, I sincerely thank the World Bank, Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the Government of Japan, USAID, Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, and the Global Partnership to End Violence Against Children through our able and trusted partner UNICEF for significantly contributing to the development and implementation of our National Positive Parenting Program. I also wish to acknowledge the tremendous efforts made by the officials in my ministry as well as the technical working group members. And I thank you, asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. That brings an end to our presentations. And from the last presentation, we've seen how positive parenting coupled with improved nutrition leads to better protection of our children, which in the long run leads to stronger and cohesive societies. Now we want to open it up. I know I rushed. We started a bit late, but we wanted to allow some time so that we can have an interactive session. And as we had called upon our online participants, I don't know from our rapporteurs whether we have any chats that could be responded to. If there are any, we can have them. However, I want now to open it up to the floor to react to the presentations in terms of comments, experiences, lessons learned. The floor is yours. Welcome. Round of 4, and then we respond to that, and then we can take another round. I can see a gentleman in the middle.
Phone on.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
My name is Dr. Keith Roll from Houston, Texas. I wanted to know if Kenya is the prototype for this program, Empowering Lives, Transforming Societies. And I see other stakeholders like Kenya, Zambia, Ghana, and we saw the UNICEF involved. What is the prognosis moving forward? And can this be a model for all of Africa, especially in a lot of the villages where this program is definitely needed, where you have impoverished communities and they need to be empowered?
Okay, thank you for that. I'm sure the panelists have taken that from all the countries. We'll take any other questions? I think I saw another aunt. We'll take 4 and then we respond. We can't see any aunt. Maybe we hand it over to Madam Jane and the other so that we respond as they come. Captured the question that is asking whether Kenya has the prototype of empowering lives and what we have could be a model for Africa. Maybe you respond to that.
Thank you very much for that question. Yes, Kenya has something that we are doing in terms of empowering lives, and that is where Tadeo Muriuki was coming in, and from Village Enterprise, and BOMA, where we have partners who are working with government to alleviate poverty through economic inclusion. And like BOMA has said, in this particular program, we are deep in the villages where we have high poverty rates, where we have what we call consumption support, and also seed capital for starting up of businesses. And on top of that, we do mentorship to those particular households, so that whatever it is that they have been given, we are able to walk through with them. First of all, having done a visibility survey in terms of what businesses are viable within that particular area. And on top of that, it is not just the business model and the mentorship alone. We are including other aspects of child protection into that. We are including issues of nutrition, especially in the first 1,000 days of a child, in all this, such that at the end of the day, we have an integrated approach to programming where we are looking at the life cycle approach for our vulnerable communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maybe we could also have BOMA add to that something.
Yeah, it's a great question. For BOMA, as I said, we were born in Kenya and have done most of our work there. But seeing the need across the drylands of Africa inspired the organization to start pilots in other countries in the drylands. And primarily that has been done through partnerships. But BOMA is currently implementing through partners in Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Uganda, and Ethiopia. And what we've learned is that these core models that Madame Jane just talked about really work to help people climb up the ladder out of poverty. Every context is different. Every target group is different. So adaptations need to be made to the particular context. But the core building blocks of this model really do work and are scalable and applicable across the continent. Thank you.
Okay, we can have Ghana 1 minute, then we can wind.
Thank you very much. I believe all African countries are working towards eradicating poverty in one way or the other. And we're also working on involving the communities. And that's because if without community involvement, people need to actualize themselves, not you forcing change on them. Ghana in 2015, we launched what we call Child and Family Welfare Policy. The essence of the family policy is to ensure that our efforts towards children are situated within the family structure, and how we will drive the family to be able to prepare from pregnancy to childbirth to raising children in a manner that is violence-free, that if they are in a situation where they can't support themselves, they'll be linked to various social protection interventions. So we're looking at how communities will be communicated with and be able to engage in a meaningful manner for all of us to have an understanding of how the positive parenting look like, how a good family look like. And so there have been communication strategies that have been developed for the use by all government workers, including all NGOs, as a standardized way of getting communities to mobilize to support our children, and also have a social drive that we call Ghanaian Against Child Abuse, that also look at how behavior change, the involvement of grandparents, fathers, and also how especially children with disabilities will be able to be supported. So it's really an effort across all the countries to ensure that we are doing something in relation to our culture and in relation to the need of the country. So that's what I would like to say about that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Zambia, just a minute, and then we shall be closing because we are coming to the end of our time. So after Zambia comments in a minute, as I said, is that we have a form that is moving around. Kindly put your contacts and we shall be able to respond to any concerns that you may have. So over to Zambia, you comment, and then Madam Jane, we invite you to close the session. Thank you very much, participants, for being with us.
Just to comment that learning from one another, South-to-South learning is very, very important for all African countries, and that is why we are here. And at the same time, to just state that there are actually differences. So it's not like it's going to be uniform, that you can transplant one idea from one country to another. Zambia, for example, has actually enacted the Children's Code Act, which protects the rights of children and defines how children are going to be dealt with right across government and institutions. And I believe it's actually one of the most advanced pieces of legislation on children that is actually in existence. And then, of course, there is work that needs to be done in uplifting people out of poverty. We have a stand as government where we would actually want our cash support to be universal, meaning that anyone who would require it in the country should be able to access it. At the same time, we're also working at reducing poverty. So yes, there are similarities, but there are also differences in our visions. So, and yes, we are learning a lot from each other, but yes, there's also a very local touch to how we are going about what we're doing as Zambians. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Jane.
Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has been able to attend this side event on behalf of the Kenya government and our mission here in New York. I want to really appreciate our effort that has gone through this, through our resident office. We want to say thank you very much. And as partners in this, it is important that we learn from one another. And like one of my colleagues has said, the South-to-South learning becomes very critical. And I want to invite all of us to visit Kenya. We have a curriculum on social protection that will help us develop good programs for our partners. And on behalf of the State Department, I want to thank my colleagues from Zambia, Ghana, our development partners, the World Food Programme and UNICEF, our non-state actors, Village Enterprise, ICS, and BOMA, for all the effort and support that you've put to make this side event a success. And to all of us participants, we want to say thank you very much and God bless you. Thank you very much.